This week, we spot a herd of seals on the way to Loch Goil Head. We take a walk and then sail onwards to Loch Riddon. Here we anchor in a tiny bay where we use radar to measure the distance to the sides. Hi, we're Dave and Jude, and we sold up our home and left our jobs and our lives behind to live on board our sailboat, Anamcara. Since leaving Portsmouth on the south coast of the UK, we've had quite an adventure, visiting wild Atlantic islands, Irish pubs, spotting whales and watching motorsports. We're embracing life and all that it has to offer. Come with us as we continue to sail north and explore the UK's magnificent coastline all the way up to the Scottish Islands and beyond. We'll be exploring the lochs of Scotland and the Hebridean Islands and discover the wildlife and communities on the way. We have new videos out every Saturday, so make sure you subscribe to avoid missing an episode. Today we are going from the moorings at Carrick, where we've been for 2 nights now. Really nice, peaceful place. Not an awful lot there, but surrounded by mountains with mist on them in the mornings and lovely walks. And we're going up to Loch Head at the top of the loch. There's supposed to be a couple of anchorages up there. So we're exploring now. We've never been to these areas. We've seen a few of them on other YouTube channels, like Joe and Tim. So really looking forward to seeing them in person. It's absolutely completely still today. I'll get some pictures of the water, but it's just reflecting the mountains and stuff. So we're not sailing. It's only a mile up there or so, maybe 2. So we're just going to motor up there, recharge the batteries a bit, and hopefully drop the anchor. We're towing the dinghy today, just to make it easier. The foredeck of the boat normally has the tender on while we're moving, and that makes it harder to move around, do the anchoring and stuff. So I decided to just throw the dinghy in, and we'll tow it because it's a short distance. We'll definitely be using the dinghy when we get there, so it makes sense to have it out and ready. So yeah, really enjoyed the stay at Carrick and seeing Carrick Castle, which is a private castle. It's got a bunch of history. It was destroyed at one point due to various political stuff hundreds of years ago, but it's now a private place. They've put a new roof on, so I guess that's going to become Airbnbs or maybe a private residence, which would be a weird private residence because there's picnic tables outside and the public just come and sit and stare at your house. So yeah, probably Airbnbs or something like that. I guess we'll see at some point, but there we are. Just seen a seal over there dive down, so the wildlife is up and about already. It's only about 8 o'clock in the morning, so relatively early for us. We've been lying in for the last few nights, just recovering from our trip down south. It was a 10-hour drive back. So yeah, but we're getting into the swing of things again, and hopefully a nice calm day. On the way to Loch Goil Head, we spotted a seal among what we thought were rocks on the beach. Eventually we realised those rocks were actually a whole herd of seals, about 40 in all. So we were trying to anchor, and up at the top of Loch Goil Head. So down here is where we came from this morning at Carrick Castle, and now up here is where we were trying to anchor. There is an anchorage on the chart, but you'll notice that the anchor symbol is in 38 metres of water. So we got this close. It's dead low water right now. If I look up there, you can see lots of shoreline. And we got within a boat length of the shore, and we were still in 15 or 20 metres of water. And we don't have enough chain to do that, because that would need probably 100 metres of chain. So instead we have come over here to some visitor mooring buoys. We didn't want to anchor tonight. We wanted to anchor tonight. We didn't want to go on mooring buoys. But sometimes you just have no choice. That felt really sketchy place to anchor. It's very, very benign conditions, but you know, when you're that close to the shoreline and you're still that deep, we were edging forwards at about half a knot, and I just lost my bottle. I couldn't carry on going forwards. So it is what it is. We're securely moored up now, and probably going to go ashore and have a look around and see what's around here. This is an absolutely fantastic location if you want to go hill walking. So there are just mountains all the way around the moorings, in every direction that we look. Today they've all got a bit of low cloud above them, or on them, but all of them seem to have trail heads coming back into the little village here, so you could quite comfortably go walking from here. And if I look over there, there's a holiday park of sort of static caravans and what I'll call sheds. They're little sort of temporary home type things. So I'm sure lots of people do go walking here, but from a boat it's quite unusual, I think I've mentioned before, to find somewhere that's both a secure mooring place and also has easy access to decent walking in the hills. But here looks absolutely perfect, so we may hang around here a bit and try and do a walk, or we may come back here in the future, but it looks like a perfect spot.
There was more at Loch Goil Head than we expected, including a golf course, the holiday park and a red squirrel sanctuary. We took a walk around the area before settling in for a quiet night on the boat. Goil Head. I keep saying Goil Head, Loch Goil Head, but it's not, it's Loch Goil Head. So we had a really peaceful night there again. It was occasionally breezy with some wind going over the mountains, and every so often there'll be just a squall that would come through, with the wind and some rain. But we've left. We are thinking we're going to head around to either Holy Loch, or back around to the Burnt Isles, which we've already done before, and have a few more nights at anchor. We are needing to plan a bit ahead because there's a storm coming through on Sunday, so we're going to have to probably get into a marina or a very protected, either on a mooring or a very protected anchorage. We're probably going to end up heading for a marina because we'll have been out a week anyway, just less than a week, so it'll be good to fill some tanks, and the washing is starting to pile up, so we can get those done and explore a bit of land while the weather's bad. But we'll see what happens and where we get to. But yeah, we've either got a 3-hour or 6-hour journey, depending where we end up. It'd be nice to go into the Holy Loch. We tried before, it was a bit swelly, the waves are coming through. There's potential it's going to be the same today because the wind's coming from the same direction, but it is less wind right now than it was before, so hopefully we'll get that as a nice anchorage. But we'll keep you updated, show you a bit of the scenery on the way. We've currently got the head sail out, as you can see behind me, where the motor is just in neutral, so it's not doing anything, but the wind's quite fluky. You would have seen clips before this, there was no wind. 2 minutes after I filmed that, it then picked up, so we got our head sail out, and we started making way under that. We're doing, what's our speed?
About 5 knots now.
About 5 knots, so that's pretty good. But because it's fluky and we're about to turn a corner move into a different loch, I think it's Loch Long now that we're turning into from Loch Goil, we think that the wind is about to die. It always does with things going through all of the lochs, so it's hard to predict. So we've left our engine on, ready to potentially have to turn it back on and motor the rest of the way. But we've got a nice little good maybe 15-20 minutes in of sailing, so at least we've done that. So just to add a little bit more onto that, we've got Jude science here. The reason that the wind is fluky is because we're surrounded by mountains, and when it starts heating up, all the wind shoots upwards along the mountain. I don't know if it's because higher heat rises. This is Jude science. Because the heat rises, so it all goes upwards, and then as it goes up it then cools back down, and then you get the wind coming back down, and that's why it's all gusty and all of that in between in the lochs and with the mountains.
And because the mountains are all on different sides.
Jude science. And because the mountains are all on different sides, the wind's coming from all sorts of angles, hence why it just happens, like we can't quite get it right all the time with the wind direction and all of that. In addition, there's quite a lot of clouds moving over, so it's constantly changing the temperature, so it's all just happening all in one go.
And to demonstrate that, coming down there we had the wind behind us. We've turned almost 90 degrees and the wind is still basically directly behind us.
So if you didn't hear Dave quite then because of the wind, he said that we have turned 90 degrees since coming out of the loch, and the wind is still actually behind us. So wait, can you see? So you can see our sail and the wind, and we did previously come from over here, which isn't easy to see on camera, but we'll show you our track. We'll add our track in and show you what we did, but it stayed behind us the entire way, and we're about to go under some power lines, but they're 70 meters tall, low, high, and we're only about 15, so we're going to clear them easily. Anyway, we'll carry on, and I might bring you some more science one day.
So here we are about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes after Jude was just doing science, and we've taken the sail down. The wind has completely dropped. We were down to 1.5 knots, so yeah, we took the sails down, partly as well because we're going past, in the background over there, it's the nuclear submarine refueling and refilling station or something, which effectively they load supplies onto the submarine fleet there. Just turn you because there is a bit of a gust just now. And so there's an exclusion zone, there's military police boats around the place, so we didn't want to drift into that and cause a problem. Not that it's generally a problem. Down in Portsmouth, if you go into the exclusion zone, they ask you very firmly to leave, and as long as you do leave, then that's the end of the matter. if you don't leave, they do have guns, so always comply. But yeah, so we've put the motor on, we're making some progress again, just lazily motoring along. We think now that we're going to head for the Burnt Islands again, where we were the other week, or somewhere like that, just to get some progress around towards the west coast. There's a storm coming in on Sunday, it's currently Thursday, and we don't want to be caught out at anchor for that storm, so we want to get to a marina, and we discussed it and we decided the marina should be towards where we're trying to go to now. We could easily just go back into Rubha, where we've been for a month. It's just around the corner from here, but we don't want to do that, it's in the wrong direction. We could go to Kip Marina, we could go to Largs. There's plenty out there in the other direction that we've not been to. It might be nice to go and explore some, but realistically we want to start making progress towards the Scottish Islands now, because summer is running out. We've lost a month due to the house sale, so we just want to go and explore. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll find an anchorage tonight, and then move a little bit further towards that direction the following day, and then pop into a marina for the weekend. So anyway, that was a long ramble. We've taken the sail down. It's been a pretty tedious day of motoring, but we have just dropped the anchor in a place called Rubha na Croich. I am definitely saying that wrong, so don't repeat it. But yeah, it's we tried an anchorage just over behind us, somewhere over here, behind a little island. There were already 2 boats in there, so we just didn't think we were going to fit. It was a very tight fit. The island has very steep rocky shores, just like where we are, but there were 2 boats plus a bunch of moorings in there, and we just didn't want to give it a go, so we've come across the way to Rubha na Croich, and or Croich probably if it's Scottish, and yeah, it's still steep rocky sides. We used the radar to measure the distance to the sides, so radar has a lovely feature where you can just tap on the screen the radar reflections and see how far away they are. So it's very good at ranging. So we know that we came up directly up the middle of the little bay that we're in. It's about 200 meters wide. We're about 100 meters from either side ish, slightly less probably, and we're probably about 80 meters from the beach or something like that. But the beach shelves down, it probably goes down by a meter every meter, and then straight down to 8 meters once it gets to sort of 5, and then it stays at 8 to 10 meters, and then it drops away to about 60, so pretty deep. So you have to make sure that you're in and on the shelf. There's a rocky outcrop over there, so you've got to avoid that. Thank goodness there's a thing called Antares charts here in Scotland. I highly recommend them. It's a guy that's been just bimbling around in his motorboat from what I can see, and he goes around and takes soundings and makes his own charts, but because the focus is on anchorages, it's more accurate than the Admiralty charts, which were never focused on that. Admiralty were making charts for the Navy. Apologies for the wind noise, it's just gusting now. So the Admiralty made charts for the Navy, and the Navy, if they were anchoring, would be anchoring in 40 or 50 meters. So they were never interested in little coves like this, and so not many soundings were done. And here we are 100, 200 years later, and this guy is driving around making lots of soundings to make sure that you get a very, very good picture of the seabed. And it was only something like 20 quid or 30 quid for these charts, and you just view them on your phone, and it's all GPS integrated and everything, as you would expect these days. But it's a lifesaver because they are quite different to the normal charts, but they do seem to be very accurate. So if you're watching, thank you for creating these charts. Absolutely brilliant product. But anyway, we're going to go and cook some dinner now. and try to relax. Obviously the first hour we'll be worried about hitting the rocks, and then we should relax a bit, but it's turning into a nicer evening than it has been the day. It's been very cloudy and wet for the whole day, but gradually improving a little bit, I think.
Please join us next week when we sail to Tarbert on Loch Fyne to sit out Storm Floris. We explore the area when we can and film the violent storm when we can't. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.